Okay, so we're going to be using a Bokken and a Jo, and if you have whatever you have, that's great. If you don't have a Bokken or if you don't have a Jo, Bokken is a wooden sword, and Jo, short staff. Pretty simple. All right. It looks like some others are joining. Okay, so like I said in the email, every class comes with a concept, right? And so today's concept, the concept of today is Aiuchi. And we've covered this, I've talked about this in other places, but it is Aiuchi, okay? So Aiuchi is a very important problem in sword work, and then it translates into in all martial arts, okay? So if you spoke Japanese, it would make sense to you that Aiuchi means mutual or meeting is I, and then strike or kill is uchi. So Aiuchi means you both hit each other at the same time and you kill each other, right? So the essence of sword is really solving the problem of Aiuchi, because you don't want to get, because you can't take a hit, right? With a sword, you cannot take a hit. It's not like fisticuffs or boxing where you can take a punch. So, so the question is, how do you attack and guard against even a single strike coming through, right? How do you attack and never have any openings, or you'll never take a hit? That's the biggest problem in sword martial arts, all right? So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna let you guys mull over that idea, right? And then we're gonna go through the warm-ups with Sugawara since I have a video that we're gonna show through my computer. And then we'll use this concept when we do the rest of the training, all right? Pretty simple. Let me take this thing off. All right, share screen. Meeting. Yeah, share screen. That's it right there. All right. really more like bouncing planks. So it's just massage in the back of the head. The idea is to find spots that fit and push on them. We'll move on to the face point. So here we go. And then that's the point as well. Finding a spot that is a little painful and massaging it. So here we're scraping above the eye socket, and then we'll quickly move and go below the eye socket. So here this is an awareness exercise, watching one finger while wiggling the other finger. Your awareness is being split between both fingers. So my primary awareness is watching with my eyes, the first finger, but my other finger is still wiggling, so I know that my awareness is there as well. Same thing, except you're using your peripheral, moving from peripheral vision to primary. Next movement, Sensei is doing a circle with his hip, with his tendon, his center. And then we'll move on to a circle with the whole body, stretching it out. All right, now we're up on our toes. We're going to be pushing down on our toes a little bit and making little circles. So this stretches out the toes. We switch. After this, we're going to be doing knee circles. Sensei loves to do a lot of knee circles because when he was younger, he injured his knee. So you'll notice he's not doing super large circles. He's doing a lot of little smaller ones. Not really big. He always does more than what we think is necessary. Simple circling of the hip. we're pinching the fingertips as we wiggle our foot on the big toe. Pinch, hit the acupressure point, and the foot wiggle kind of relaxes the side of the body. These are wrist stretches that we're going through now as we're doing small horse stance. These are the typical wrist stretches for Aikido. Don't be afraid to modify the warm-up to your own level in what you're doing. These are little circles with the fists raised as high as you can above your head. This is a shoulder exercise, actually. It takes a little while to figure out why it helps the shoulder. Lifting up one side of the back and then the other. And now this is both. This part right here of the warm-up, the centering piece, where you should be able to bring your breath into line after doing 8, I think since they told me. Actually one of the exercises warm-up the founder, as well as this next one. You'll see the founder of Aikido doing these stretches in his warm-up. Kind of fun. All right, now we begin the Qigong. All right, so each movement we're going to do 3 times. So if you mess up, don't worry, you got 2 others to fix it. The first movement is we're going to be pushing a ball into water. Ball into water. Right. And then now we're going to be reaching to the side and pulling up. And then grabbing the heaven. Each one we do 3 times. Called the coach stance. A lot of martial arts. We're going to do the same, down and then up, but now the palms point to each other as they're pulling passy, if you will. Down, up, pull, passy. Now this is a reaching up to the heaven, stretch. The hands go by the ears, and we're going to do a short squat, but make sure your back is straight while we're squatting. That's more important than taking a deep movement. So now we're we're going to do a similar motion, except now we do our little squat, but we grab the ball like we're holding it in our hand. Again, it's more important to have your back straight than to have a deep squat. Next, we do a little circle movement with both hands on top of that ball in the water, 3 times on each side. Now we're going to grab the ball onto one side. And we're going to turn. When we get to their side, turn the ball over. And we do this 3 times on each side, which is so then on the last one, your hands go over, shoulder, elbow, wrist. Present the hand like you're reading a book. Present the hand. This is actually kind of a little bit of a back stretch. And then it comes to the position. And you're going to one hand over the other and you make a circle around your belly. The important here is really more that you put your concentration right at the palms of your hand. And at the same time, think about the concentration in your back. So the circle is not just the belly rub. It should be helping your posture and your concentration. And we're going to grab both fingers, thumb up, kind of an energy alignment or gravity alignment, if you will. So we go up on our toes and then we fall back down. And we shouldn't be falling over. Usually the first people fall over. The next movement, small horse stance, and we're shooting our hand out. Shooting the hand out. The elbow is near the side of the body as you do this. Now we're going to go to one side. And then we're going to go up again. Here we're going to go straight up. So the next is, we call affectionately the teacup. The palm stays up the whole entire time as you go through this movement. The palm stays up. Essentially, there's a lot of these. So practice on your own level here. And then a lot of times you can make it so that you go up. One second here. There we go. Stop share. Hold on. There we go. All right. Perfect. Okay. So that, hey, David, welcome. Let's see who else joined. Hayden joined, but that's not Hayden. That's Jane. Hey, Jane. Yane's there. Wow. Hey.
It's Jane.
Great. Okay. Yeah. No, I could tell.
Oh,
so
good.
if you're outside, be careful because of the smoke, right? You know.
Yes.
I see you have the mask. It's very smart.
Yeah.
All right. So at the beginning of this, I'm going to switch to the other camera. It's a little bit easier. At the beginning of this, we talked about the concept of the day is Aiuchi. So Aiuchi means mutual strike or mutual kill or meeting strike, meeting kill. You know, Japanese can mean a lot of different things. Okay? So what I asked, what I explained at the beginning was, this is when both people, you know, hit each other at the same time, right? I hit them, but they hit me you know, with sword work, that you can't have that happen because you get killed by a sword, while in boxing, that's okay. So the question is, how do you solve the problem of Iuchi? How do you attack but not get struck back? So I know some of you know the answer. There's many different answers. So I think I'm going to leave it open, but I'm going to give you two of my answers, right? So, but you guys everyone should be studying this. This is a very key principle to sword work, is how do you solve the problem of Iuchi? All right. So the first way you solve it is you treat your sword as your shield. Your sword is your shield, which means that you need to always be behind your sword, not open, right? You want to feel like you're behind the bladed section, right? So when we do our strikes, we want to feel that we're still behind the weapon, and then only at the tip, we can see underneath our hand, and then we go back for the makiuchi strike, okay? For those of you that may be new, the makiuchi strike is we pull with the top hand, we push with the bottom hand, we come up to kind of a triangle on our head, kind of, this is the basic idea, and then we immediately strike back out. This is the makiuchi, all right? So, but the principle of Iuchi is solved by staying behind the weapon as long as you can, right? So there's going to be a section when maybe there will be a small spot where someone can throw a shuriken through you, you know? But at the most part, I could block with this part of my weapon. Only at the top am I not okay. And then right away, you strike back out. So that's how you solve the problem of Iuchi 1, right? Is how do you attack without getting cut, is you make sure you're always behind your weapon. If you put this into your weapons training, it's really quite an amazing thing. Now, there's a second principle that helps this, okay? The second principle is don't really attack. In sword work, it's more of a long game. You're playing the long game. You don't have to kill the other people. You just don't have to die. So in the idea is don't really attack so much so that when you do your strike, you extend past your center or anything reasonable. What you want to do is just think that you want to get back to Seigan, which is this position. Only back to this middle position, Seigan. Not trying to reach to attack the person, okay? That's the other piece. So the reason why enemies fall is not because I'm out there hacking them to death. It's because I can quickly get back to Seigan and my enemies spear themselves onto the tip. All right? That's the idea. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to use that idea into our interval training, right? So those of you that want to grab your Bokken and follow along, we're going to do 2 minutes of makiuchi training, and then we're going to only makiuchi, how you know best. Use the 2 minutes to study. Don't use the 2 minutes to speed through it. Study what the strike is. Okay. Let me put this on my shoulder so I don't lose it. All right. Wait, hold on. Does anybody have any questions? I should ask for questions first. Questions? Everyone okay? Thumbs up? All right, great. Here we go. 2 minutes, makiuchi. Okay. I'm going to try to get in both cameras here. So the idea is that we want to be behind our sword as as it's rising, you feel safe behind it. There's a second where you're not, and then quickly go back to your Seigan position. That looks good. So don't be afraid. You could do Makiuchi with foot movement or 1 foot forward. You could just trade it up. The idea is that we're using the 2 minutes just to study the movement. All right, that was 2 minutes. Okay, so the next movement we're going to do Gedan, which is a down opening, and then Seigan. You could add in Makiuchi if you want to or not. So we're going to start in about 40 seconds, but what we're going to be doing mostly is you're in Seigan, this is Gedan. Seigan, Gedan, right? This is connected to your hip a lot more than people use. So it's not your arms, you should be moving your hip. Seigan, Gedan. Now for people that feel comfortable, you could also do Makiuchi, Gedan, Seigan, Makiuchi, Gedan, Seigan. So the idea is that we're still using the concept of being behind our weapon. Makiuchi, I'm behind it. When I go Gedan, I'm purposely not behind it. And then I go Seigan. Now I'm behind it. Okay, so we're purposely in Gedan, not behind it. That was the bell. We're starting off 2 minutes. Seigan, Gedan. Seigan, Gedan. You're trying to get the Seigan to the Gedan, or sorry, the Gedan to the Seigan with your body, not just your hands. Right? The body goes from Gedan, I'm showing opening, and then I'm cutting it off with the Seigan. So try to feel when are you behind your weapon? When are you safe? If something goes wrong, if someone throws a shuriken at you, could you block it? Or when you're in Gedan, you're open. You're inviting the attack. And then you go Seigan to block it off. So we know when our opening is open and we are covered. Super crucial in a sword fight. All right, that was 2 minutes. Perfect. Good job. Good job. All right, we're going to do a couple more rounds. The next one, a little trickier. Some of you guys will already know this because I'm building up to something. We're going to do a turn and block. Okay? We turn our hips and block. You could receive anywhere up, down, low, high, but it's a turn of the hips. The tip needs to stay on my center, right? Because I'm covering myself and I'm blocking someone attaching me to the side of my head or lower to my hips. No one cares. Just make sure that the tip is on the center. And it's a turn of the hip that makes the block. The hand, my right hand is basically in front of me, right? So there we go, 2 minutes, all right? So those of you that are more advanced, you could add them together and block, right? You could do your makiuchi, geidan, block. Or if you just want to practice the block, just turn your hip. The hands are basically in front of you. It's my hip that turns, and the tip, see, I'm covered by my enemy, right? So this is the same idea. I want to feel where I'm open. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm behind my weapon. I'm not behind my weapon. Super crucial in a sword fight. "30 seconds, guys." So feel that you're behind your weapon. Don't extend out too much because then you can't feel like you're behind it. You should be within your kind of strength aura, if that's a thing. All right, good job, everyone. Good job. All right, so what we're going to do next, this next one, and it's going to be the last one of the sword interval, is we're going to add in a little bit of a circle with our tip in each movement. So now you're free to do any of those movements, right? You do your makiuchi, and then at the end of the strike, do a little circle with your tip. You could then do a circle with the tip. You could do geidan. Do a little circle with the tip on the geidan. Go back to seigan. A little circle with the tip. You could block. A little circle with the tip. Block. A little circle with the tip. Okay? The reason you want to practice this is it gives your awareness, your mind gets all the way to the tip. If you can make a little circle with the tip, then it means that your mind is getting to the tip. All right? The trick sensei taught me years and years ago.
Sensei,
Hi.
does it matter
Yes.
which direction the circle goes?
Not at all.
Okay.
Up to you. It's really more about the awareness. All right? So you could do, I think clockwise is good for me, but I could do it counterclockwise. I don't think it matters, right? And what you want to do is that this little circle that you're doing isn't just the hand. Although, of course, the hands, you want to feel like it's being driven by a little circle of the hip. Some of you might wonder why I have a orange belt, but it's literally so you guys can see this. When I do this little circle, my little the orange belt thing is also moving just a little bit. Just a little bit. So you could see, you know, I'm not hiding my center today. I'm showing you. See how it's a little circle. And the same thing, you don't want to be reaching out with the circle. You want a straight back. Little circle. Little circle, little circle. When you do the block in little circle, the circle definitely has to engage your hips. It doesn't feel right if you just use your hands. You have to use your hips. You could kind of fake it with the hands in Seigan or Geiran, but when you block, it really has to come from the hips, otherwise it does not feel good. Please try to have a good stance while you're training, right? So that we are not, overextended. All right, woo. That was a quick 2 minutes. All right, let's take a pause on the Bokken. We're going to move to the Jo, if you guys have a Jo. If you only have a Bokken, you could use your Bokken like a Jo. Or if you had a Jo that you were using like a Bokken, now you could use it like a Jo. The most important thing to notice about a Bokken is that, about a Jo, this is a real piece of wood, right? This is almost like a real weapon. Most Jos, training Jos, are rounded on the tip. You see how this is a nice one. It's nice and rounded, okay? The reason this is because if you hit someone and it's flat, you're gonna hurt somebody. And you don't wanna do that in training. So, but this is my home defense Jo, if you will. I cut it shorter so I don't hit the ceiling when I am fighting off my attackers. But you could also tell that the tip here is a lot more, sharp. So the point of the Jo, a lot of times when people strike with the Jo, they strike here. Let me turn this just a little bit. All right. So they strike here, right? They'll strike here where it's this part. What we want to do is we want to strike with the end. We are hitting with the end. Okay? Always the Jo hits with the end. What my Chinese boxing coach told me, or teacher, Lu Chen, he told me hitting a martial artist like this is massage. Oh, thank you. I need a good massage. Hitting someone with the edge like that, this is going to tear and rip, right? Right here, this edge right here, right? So the Jo is actually a cutting weapon, not a bludgeoning weapon. This is usually the mistake that most people do. They see it as a bludgeoning weapon, but really you're hitting with the end, it's a cutting weapon. All right, we're gonna do a couple movements with the Jo. First one has nothing to do with what I just talked about, but it is a thrusting motion. We're gonna hold back down here, and when we thrust, we're gonna push out like we're thrusting. We don't wanna overextend, and then we wanna be back. It's with this hip turning that drives the thrust. You notice my feet aren't sliding. I'm turning my back foot out and pushing on the ball, because I always want my knee and my big toe to be in alignment. If they're not in alignment, I'm going to hurt my toe. So you push, and then you pull back, all with the hip. If you notice, my right hand right now is right in front of my center most of the time. Most of the time, it's right in front, right? See? Okay? Come on, start. All right. And last but not least, we don't want to be pushing and sliding with our feet. We only want to hold our ground. Hold your ground. The other point that I think I corrected Ryan on the other day, actually it looks like he fixed it, is don't pull back and then thrust. Be in your ready position and then go, and then pull back. Be in your ready position. All you have to do is push it out. Don't feel like you have to wind up for it. You don't want to wind up You want to be ready to go, and then you strike, okay? Now, the last thing, and we're going to start in 10 seconds, is still feel like you're behind your jo. Don't be super, right? Feel like if something bad happens, you can move your jo up to block yourself because your enemies are throwing shuriken at you, and you need to block the shuriken. All right, we got 2 minutes, thrusting. Thrusting 2 minutes. Stay behind the jo. Don't telegraph the thrust out by drawing back. Go straight in. Boom. And we're not trying speed. We only are trying to study. What is the best way to attack and not get a hit? And you could, of course, switch to the other side too. Looks good, guys. So another point is, because we're thrusting out and our hands are out, make sure that your back is straight. So if someone grabbed onto it, you could pull it back. If you lean forward with the thrust and someone grabbed onto it, they could pull you. Make sure you don't have that happen by having a nice straight spine into the ground as you do the movement. This pull back should feel strong enough. If someone grabbed onto it, you could pull them with you because you are using your hip. Four seconds. All right, great. Okay, take a break. Got 1 minute break. Okay, so the next movement, for those of you that know it, is going to be a cover and strike. So we're here in our ready position. Our hands come together above our head. Our back hand is the one that comes together. The front hand lets go. It spins around, and we strike the side of their head. So we're here, raising up. The back hand's the one that slides in, cover, and then strike. Please be careful of your ceiling. And if I think someone now and then had a ceiling fan, please be careful of your ceiling fan. Cover and strike. Yes, nice, everyone. That looks really good. We're going to start in 10 seconds. Remember, core concept of the day is Iuchi. So you want to be behind your weapon almost the whole entire time. All right, here we go. 2 minutes. Study. You don't need to go fast. But feel that you are behind your jo almost 90% of the time. There's one place or two that a high-level master ninja could throw their shuriken through, but that just may be our fate. All right. Normally, we only do this strike with the right side. The right hand forward is at the end. If you wish to, for you advanced people, do it on the other side. It's actually very nerving because we normally don't strike with the left hand forward. Like maybe we would keep the right hand forward, but we lose this. Anyway. Cover. Strike. So feel when you're behind your weapon, and at what point could you be open to a shuriken throw or a spear throw Master, some master that is destined to kill you no matter what, but still feel where you're open. Right there, I'm open. Oop, no, I'm not. Not open, not open, not open. Right? That's what you're literally trying to train in martial arts. Oops, 2 minutes. Okay, great. All right. So the last one of this little bit, and some of you could probably guess it, is from this position, we're going to draw back and strike underneath. Okay, from here, draw back so no one can see where your jaw is. Step forward and strike the leg. This is not a sweep, a circle. The strike is a lot more going straight to push in on their knee. A lot more of a straight punch with your hand than a circle-y movement with your hip. Okay, we're going to draw back and strike. Right? Strike. And you could practice this any way you want. Oftentimes, I just like to practice this, just stepping forward and back. Right? There you go. Good, guys. And be careful of your room. Make sure you're not going to hit anything. So the same thing. This is connected to your center. And if you look, I'm ready to be behind this. I'm right here. I know I'm not behind my weapon because I'm hiding it. And then as soon as here, I'm able to be behind it. So as you come in, you could raise up and block high, or you could strike low. But you know, I'm open, I'm open, I'm open. Oh, I'm not open. Right? Open, 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 open. Ah, nope, I could block. Right? That's what you should be feeling inside your head. Open, not open. Or at least today, since the concept of the day is Aiuchi. How do you attack but not ever get hit? Super crucial for sword fighting, because we cannot take a hit. 45 seconds. Another point to remember is to try to keep your back straight because you want to use your posture. If I lean forward with my strike, super hard to come back. So I want to be able to make sure I could step forward and come back if I have to. Right? And if I lean my head in, I will have to lean my head out, and then my movement becomes really slow. All right. Whew. Okay, take a breather. So the next what we're going to do is, oh, it's already noon. Perfect. The next what we're going to do is we're going to combine all three of these into one movement, okay? So hopefully you have room in your slot. Please be careful. So what we're going to do is we're going to thrust, cover and strike, draw back, and then strike low. Okay, we're going to do that in 20 seconds, right? So we're going to add all three together. If you don't have all three, just do what you remember, copy along, try to keep the idea while we're doing this that I am behind my Joe, and when I'm not behind my Joe, my spider sense goes off saying, hey, be careful, all right? Here we go, 2 minutes combining thrust, cover strike, draw back, attack low. All right, good job. Looks like everyone's doing really well. Beautiful, 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 everyone. Cover strike, draw back, thrust. Thrust, cover, strike, draw back. So feel that when you're behind your weapon. That's what we're supposed to get away from today's class, So when you go off and train on your own, you could remember that part. Okay. Kata always falls out of our head, but principles last forever. Ryan, when you attack here, the backhand goes to your hip. Backhand goes to your hip. Yeah. And then don't turn your stance all the way pointing that way. Still have a little bit of your stance pointing forward. Nice. Cover strike. Boom. 10 seconds, everyone. Nice, nice. All right. Because everyone's doing so well, we're going to add one last one in, right? It's the bonus round. Yane likes it. Yane is liking the bonus round. Same thing. What we're going to do is we're going to add in a little circle at each spot, right? Circle with the tip at each part in the kata, right? Or in the movement. So before you thrust, little circle. You know, you pull back, you do your cover, little circle. Strike out, little circle. Draw back, little circle. Step in, hit, little circle, right? What this does is it makes sure that your mind, your awareness gets to the tip, which is also the part of, you know, training with weapons. All right, here we go. 10 seconds. We're going to start up again. So remember, same as what we just did, but now little circle at each interval where you're taking a break. Circle, thrust, cover and strike, little circle, draw back, little circle, strike, little circle, and then all over again. 2 minutes straight. Here we go. Minute 45 left. Actually kind of hard. Little circle, thrust, little circle, cover strike, little circle, draw back, little circle, strike, little circle, flip, little circle. So of course, in a real fight, you would never do these little circles, right? But this is self-training. And these little circles are gonna bring your awareness to the tip much better than anything else. 30 seconds. All right. Almost done, guys. All right, good job. All right, that's it. We're done with the interval training part of this class. Woo! Holy crap, you guys all did really well. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. So, the next part of the class is we're going to go through Sugawara Sensei's simplest kata, Kumijo kata #1, sword. Okay? I think the sword is much more interesting than the jo, or at least if you're interested in sword fighting, start with the jo. I'm going to start with the sword. A lot of times, actually all the time, we are using either a jo like it's a sword or like it's a spear. Those are the two things that we're doing, right? So studying the jo by itself, interesting, but if you're trying to really learn martial arts or learn sword work, of course, got to learn the sword. All right. So some of you guys know this, some of you don't. We're just going to walk through with the numbers, okay? And then if there's any issue, you know, please raise your hand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do it facing your guys the same direction with the camera. I've noticed that works a little bit better. All right. So here we go. So we're going to start off with the bow in. And if you guys don't know the bow in, here we bow, stepping forward.
We've lost
we
your,
draw the sword out, and now we're in Seigan. All right.
Eric, we lost your video for the first part of that.
Yep.
You need to start over.
One more time. Thank you, David. Thank you, David. So also everyone, if there's an issue, like if you can't catch something, you know, we're going to go over it a bunch, but, you know, and we're just going to do our best with the format we have. There is a lot of problems, you know, with this style of, you should be able to see my face, this style of training. But that's why I wanted to focus, and I'm glad David brought this up. That's why I wanted to focus on the concept of Aiuchi. So even while we're doing this kata, you know, if you forget the movements later on, try to remember we're always trying to be aware, when are we behind our weapon and when are we not? That's the big piece. All right. Here we go. One more time. We're going to start from the bow in. We bow. We're going to step out with one foot, drawing the sword out, stepping forward, and now we're back in our Seigan position. Our right hand is on top, our bottom hand is on bottom, all right? Our left hand is on the bottom, okay? So at the beginning of this, we step back into Sha no Kamae, we go into Jodan no Kamae, and then we go into feet together with a Seigan where the tip is on my opponent's nose, okay? We're going to start from this position as we keep going. This is the easiest spot to start on. So we're starting here. So number one, we're going to makiuchi, step out, and we're cutting a person's wrist in front of us. Now we're going to step back with our foot, and we're going to turn our body this direction, and the tip is still on their center. Now as we step forward again, we're going to go through Jodan and attack the invisible partner's hip. Beautiful. Now we're going to do the exact same movement, stepping back. The tip is still on their center line, and we're blocking off to the side again. Okay. One more time, we go through the same movement. We step forward, we go through Jodan, which is above our head, and we attack their hip. Now we're going to go to some of the movements we did earlier. We take Gedan. They attack side of our head. We rise up, we block. They move off to the side. We follow them with another Gedan. Now, they're going to attack our side of our leg. We're going to step back. The sword swings over, and we block over the top. Whew. This is probably the hardest movement of the kata. The sword moves to our right, keeps it going, over the top, blocking. And now we makiuchi, and we step back or step forward, depending on how much room you have in your house. And we're back to Seigan. All right. Wish us all luck. We're going to go through this a number of times, okay? So don't worry. So our feet are going to start together. This is going to be our starting position. We're going to makiuchi, stepping forward, cutting the wrist. Then they thrust on us. We step back, making this triangle block. Stepping forward again, we go through Jodan and attack the hip. Then they thrust on us again. We step back, make the same movement, the same triangle block. The tip has to be on our center. Stepping forward again, attacking the hip. Now we take Gedan, rise up, we block. We take Gedan again, and here we go. We step back, sword goes over our head, block, low, makiuchi, stepping back or forward, depending on the size of your room. All right. I think everybody's looking pretty good. All right, again. Okay, so we're going to start with the feet together. Beautiful. And we makiuchi, step forward, attack the wrist. We're going to step back, receive with the triangle block. The tip is on the center. Step forward again, cut the hip. They thrust on us again. We step back and we receive same triangle block. Go over the top of the head, Jodan. We attack the hip. We take gate on, block, raising straight up. Take gate on again, stepping back, circling over our head, blocking with the sword, stepping back or forward, makiuchi, back to seigan, depending on your room. I remember I was doing this the other day. Someone was stepping right into their wall, so please be careful. Funny story was when I lived in Japan, Nakano Sensei, Sugawara Sensei's head student, and he, you know, the class was in this gigantic high school gym, right, which is like 3 or 4 basketball courts. It was huge. And as I was training with him, he was always walking me backwards through the kata, and I don't know how, but every time he got me into the corner, I got pushed into the corner. And it's this huge gym. And I said, oh, you know, I'm so like, what am I doing wrong? Right? Because, you know, the kata says to step back, I'm stepping back, right? I don't know what's the problem. And then Nakano just says to me, you should turn, just turn. And it dawned on me like, oh, you know. So what that means is if a kata, you know, tells you to step off a cliff because it says to step backwards, don't do that, change, just turn. Either use one foot or use the other, just make it up. Right? Because you don't want to die because the kata told you to do a movement a certain way, right? Kata is just a guideline. All right, we're going to go back to this. We're going to do this a couple more times. All right, we're doing good on time. All right, here we go. Feet together, okay? Makiuchi, we step forward, we take the wrist. Now they're going to thrust at us, step back, triangle block. Stepping in again through Jodan, take the hip. They thrust again, triangle block. Tip again, get on. Block, get on, stepping back, block, makiuchi back. All right, moikai. So feet together, stance and seigan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you see there's only 10 movements. Here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, I'm going to tell you guys a secret. Okay, Yanni's going to like this because he likes secrets. So there is a very important martial art principle embedded in this kata. Okay, and I didn't understand it for a very, very long time. It dawned on me one day as I was training this. I realized my left foot stays all the time where it is, right? So in this kata, my left foot, basically, it stays where it is throughout most of the kata. Most of the kata is left foot stays in one spot. What this does is it teaches you how to ground with the one foot and you move in and out with the other foot, right? The left foot grounds and the right foot steps back and forth, okay? So while we're going through this, kind of realize that. And now the second part we're gonna do is we wanna add in the Aiuchi training piece, where now we wanna be behind, we wanna feel like when are we behind the weapon and when aren't we, right? And we know that when we take gate on, we're not behind the weapon, right? But of course, most of the time we should be behind the weapon, okay? So two things. Try to be behind your weapon, feel that, feel when you're not. And then the second thing is feel that your left foot is the grounding foot. It stays in the ground. All right, here we go. We're gonna do this 3 more times and then we're gonna move on to the next piece, which is questions. All right, so feet together, okay. Makiuchi, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me do it at a different angle here. Here we go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cool. All right, one more time. Here we go. Feet together. Makiuchi, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. Good job, everyone. So that's the basic class. I'm going to open up the questions. If you guys have any questions on what you're training on your own, anything that we covered, anything in general, maybe what you want to cover next time, any of that. Anybody out there? Questions?
We've done the first kata for a few times. Can we do the second kata next time?
Yeah, we'll do the second kata the next time. If you want to cover it now, I could do it quickly. Everyone else might have trouble with it, but I mean, either way.
Sure.
Next time the idea is that next time we'll cover number 2. Bit of a spin in number 2. That makes it a little bit tricky. All right. That's really about the class. So,
Sensei?
yes. Yes, please.
I noticed you're recording this. Will this be available for us to watch during the week and practice with?
Yes, it will be. Yeah.
Fabulous.
So, Jim will be doing that. He's doing that right now. He's going to. My headpiece is dying. He's going to send out a link to. We'll send out a link for it. It will be like a hidden, private YouTube link, right? So. You won't be able to search and find it, but if you have the URL, you'll be able to get it. So that's a good question. Thank you for asking. I think that really covers it. You know, I'm going to send out a reminder about the other details. We're going to do this next week. So I want to thank you all for coming. And, you know, during the week, please, if you guys are training and you want to text me a message or email me, texting is a little bit better. I normally get to it quicker. Please do. I know Ryan in the past has sent me some videos, which is a lot of fun. But if you just have a question, that is also, you know, really good. So,
Sensei, one question.
Yes.
When you do the high block on this Kumijo Kata 1, can you describe it a little bit more? Because I'm not really sure where I'm putting my hands. And
so on Kumijo number 1, the block, So I'm through this camera now.
Mhm.
You're covering yourself on your side. Someone's attacking. It has a lot to do with. So if someone's attacking you like this, right? You want to block kind of in that area. These hands should be kind of rounded so you can absorb. And when you absorb, you're absorbing straight down into the ground, like all good martial artists do. But then the most important part, like I was saying, is on your opponent, right? The tip is on your opponent. So, I don't know, can you guys hear me again? My thing crapped out.
I can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, great. All right, so when you're blocking, right? Oh, maybe this camera's better.
No, the other one's better, Eric.
You're covering yourself with your weapon.
So,
Right.
so it's basically the same as the mid-level block. You're just raising your hands higher.
Wait, one second. I got to grab my other headpiece. I can't hear you guys.
Bye-bye. Sensei, go bye-bye. And he went to get his other headpiece.
It's good to see everyone.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Well, I can't hear you guys.
Nice to see some new faces.
Sensei, there should be a way that you can unmute. You can unmute everyone.
Hey, all right. So I'm glad that everyone. I apologize for my now, but super glad you guys all came. Send me text if you guys want to talk during the week. Same time next week, Saturday, Sunday, 11 o'clock to around 12, 15, 20, something like that, depending on how we all are.
Great.
Please be safe, and I'll see you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Sensei.
Sensei.